Welcome back to part two. We're going to talk about choices and consequences. And we're back with the famous Peter Edwards. And if he's not famous now, he will be. Peter is going to be a writer next. He's writing 2 books. I've got a chance to take a peek at both of those that he's been working on for a while now, and it's pretty good stuff. So, Peter, welcome back. Let's talk about choices and consequences. Now we're into part 2 of this segment. And we're listening to learn, right? I mean, I need to learn more, and I'm hoping the audience is interested enough to want to learn more too. Let's talk about the consequences. So the consequences of choices, you didn't have a lot of choices. We talked about you weren't looking to be, a doctor or a lawyer, or be an astronaut or president of the United States. You're looking to survive. It's really survival mode on the streets. Take us through that, the choices that happened, and what does that look like?
A lot of choices. I made a lot of bad choices. Peer pressure, played a lot in my decision making that made me pay a lot for my consequences. And the reason why I say that is because when you in a game and you in it, not just a difference from being a game member and a game banger. See, I grew up as a game banger, okay? I came in as a game member, okay? I left out as a game member and not a game banger. And I kind of explained that to you. A lot of the consequences I did was because I had to prove myself, okay? Whether I wanted to do it or not. But to show my loyalty, and to show that, I could be trusted. I did some things, that, it's all part of it. Fighting, getting jumping people, that was all part of it. But the consequences that it cost me, I didn't realize would come back and play a role in my life later on down the line. Like you said, did I ever think about wanting to be a policeman, a fire department, paramedics, or anything like that, doctor? Well, with any felonies, you're not going to be doing that anyway. But nobody never told me that a felony can dictate what you can do in life and what you can't do in life. I never knew that, because it's a lot of things, jobs now that I wish I could have had, but the felonies played a part in it. So that kind of helped me down, that kind of got me discouraged. That kind of made me feel that, is it a racial thing? What's the difference between me and any other race and we're applying for the same job? Well, you know what the difference is? They don't have no felonies. They didn't come from what you come from. And I get it, due to certain jobs, they want somebody in there that's, squeaky clean, that ain't been in trouble. And I get it. But that don't define who I am, because I have made mistakes. I pay my debt to society for all the crimes I committed, okay? And I never once complained about my prison time. I never complained about my California Youth Authority, the juvenile halls. I went up the ranks, but I did that. Them was my consequences because of my decision making. And now I'm to the point in my life now that I could look back on that and I could smile about it, because I made it. I could really truly say I made it. And I don't know too many of us out here that's old like myself, the youngsters call us now, if you 55 and older, you call old school. And you call old school just like an old car, okay? It's different, It stands out, It ain't like the other cars that's on the road. You see that car every now and then, like a car show or something like that. And that's how it is with me, I see the youngsters, I respect everybody. I try to talk to them about consequences when I can, because I think we're not paying attention to consequences. And for any actions, there's consequences. I don't care what it is. Okay. Like I said, I made a lot of mistakes in life. You know, I spent half of my life in jail, in and out of jail. You know, I thought it was normal, but it wasn't. But, you know, when you're in the gangs and peer pressure and you trying to be something you're not, you know, sometimes it'll lead you to some things like that.
Let me ask this then. Then, if you say about the family culture, it wasn't a family with your mom and brothers and sisters as much, but when it became a gang, it was a family. There was a bond. There was trust. You had to prove yourself all the time, right? That's where that peer pressure came in. But did the family as a whole become your family? Was that a family?
Yeah. I died for it. No doubt
You're
about
putting
it.
your life on the line.
That's right. I sure will.
And that's when gangbanging, you have to still provide. You still got to provide.
That's
you still
right.
got to buy things.
Yes.
Was the gang life of buying things and processing all that kind of
Yes.
stuff.
And when you live in that type of lifestyle, you're not thinking about a 9 to 5. You ain't thinking about being a father figure, you know. You ain't thinking about, you know, being an example. Only thing you're thinking about is the streets and just representing what you represent, you know. And that's fine and dandy, but I will say this. If I know a lot of things I know now that I'm older, I would have knew back then, I would have took a different journey.
Because you're not thinking about the victims either at that time.
No,
You're the hunter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and just like they say, if the bear sleep, let the bear sleep. Because if you poke him and you wake him up, he might just get out of control. You know, so me sitting up and looking back on everything, you know, I'm blessed to be here.
No, we're blessed that you're too. So think about that, just today's structure. I'm going to leapfrog a little bit to gang life here. A little different today than it was back then.
Yes.
Back then, if I understood things right, you know, it was, you know, back there was more fists. You might have had a pipe. If you used a gun, it was to scatter everybody that had you in trouble.
Yes.
But basically, it was when you're fighting gang to gang, you guys kind of had a location to go to, right?
Yes.
And then you kind of just deal with whatever grievances you might have had. But you had territories.
That's what it's
Tell us a
called.
little bit about that.
That's why it's called hoods. So you don't go in nobody else's hood unless you're looking for it, because that's their hood, and you know that. But once you step over and you go into that, that means there's gonna be consequences, because you shouldn't be over here, you know. And with me, the hood is all I know, you know. And right to this day, I'm still hood, but I'm just hood in a different way, you know. I want to be not so much the hero, but I want to be the one to where when people kind of look down and look, they say, well, he came from this and that, he ain't this and that. I want to be the one to say that, you know what, you can overcome the peer pressure, the odds. You can, you know. Totally different. They're giving out time now for these youngsters. The time they're giving out now for the stuff that I did back then and I went to prison for, they probably had me underneath the jailhouse. I would be done.
If you think about the young kids, you know, now it's about guns, you know, and so I've been going to some of the police meetings trying to understand what's going on, what are they doing, what they're working on, and easily 800 to 1,100 shots, I mean, actual rounds of bullets move through the air South Bend every month. And so the first thing I say is, why isn't more people shot, right? Even innocents, but even the gang shooting at the gang members or whoever has differences, why isn't more people shot? And I think about my life growing up when I went to the farm, we were poor. We didn't have any money. We hunted to put meat on the table, and we couldn't afford bullets. It's not like I could target practice a lot.
Yeah.
They took us out to shoot the target. You start to hit the target, okay, you go hunt, but you don't shoot wildly. You have to hunt the target, wait till the target moves. If there's 20 deer running across, you don't just unload the gun. You wait till the one's walking up to you or by you, and you take that one out. It's not to kill for sport, it was kill for food on the table. Rabbits, everything. So that's how we learned. So we had to learn to hit the target. And so one of the things I said to the officers, we got to give the gang members shooting lessons. I was being sarcastic, right? Not hit the targets.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not what I said to them was what I believe, and you helped me with this, is they really don't want to shoot each other, but they have to make a stance and say, look, I will protect what's mine. I will protect my territory. If you're going to mess with me, it's about respect, right? It's about
Yes.
your position. It's about who your character is, right? In the eyes of each other. Is that true?
Yeah, it's very much true. That's why you gotta be careful. If you go join a gang, you better be knowing what you're getting into. Because once you get in, okay, it's so hard to get out, man. And you don't even realize you still got your whole life ahead of you. But you don't realize that because once you get in, that's when you feel that pressure. That's when you feel that need that, what can I do to show my loyalty? What can I do? How far am I willing to go? Okay? And you look at some of the stuff, I be looking at some of the stuff on the news, and it's sad because we got too many innocent people getting killed over these straight bullets. They don't got nothing to do with nothing, man. And bullets don't have no names.
They don't.
They go through walls, they go through corridors, But I guess the youngsters are getting caught up in the heat of the moment because I know when I got caught up in the heat of the moment, I didn't care. I didn't care who was on the only person you need to fear is the person behind the gun.
Mm.
That's who you got to fear. But for as everybody else, I didn't care, man. And I'm fortunate that, I didn't get killed. I didn't kill nobody. But I have my fair shares of having, stuff done to me, from gangbanging, getting caught up in drive-bys and stuff like that. And I have seen some innocent people get, caught up in something. And you do kind of feel bad, but then again, hey, that's the streets, man.
You're doing what you're doing,
That's
yeah.
the hood, And I just think that the consequences, we taking the consequences for granted, because I know I did. And I spent at least half of my life, 30 years of my life, in and out of jail, since the age of 13.
Mm.
The first time I went to juvenile hall was stealing some spray paint. The spray paint on the wall. And the spray to get high off of, which...
That was kind of a thing, right? That was a thing back then.
That's over their head, though. But, yeah, it was back then. And that's when the door opened and everything just changed. That's when I lost control. And I knew the streets had me. I didn't have it until I went through my rough patches. Then I woke up and then I realized that, wait a minute, it's got to be a better way. If I could work in jail... I was in prison, I went to California Youth Authority. They gave me 10 years. Off that, I did 6. I got out. I stayed out 6 months. Caught an attempted murder. Went back in front of the judge. Took a deal for 15. Did 7.5. And this is during the Rodney King era. And I could knock on wood. I'd never been back since then. But what made me wake up was the consequences. A lot of the youth out here don't have the role models in the house or around you to teach you positive, like they should. They got a thing, the OG's supposed to be teaching these youngsters out there, hey man, if you got a problem with somebody, take that up with that person. You can't take it up with the streets. The streets ain't did nothing to you. But now you got 5 or 6 people that got shot because you got a beef with one person, but you took it out on everybody that was there. And that's why we having these mass casualties, these mass shootings, because it ain't the beef is with the person, but the person that's shooting feels so hurt, they want everybody to pay. And that's why they don't care, And you will be held accountable for it, though, Your conscience, You know, I did some things in my lifetime, and my conscience just ate me up, man. That let me know that I was human. Because at first, I didn't care. You know, if you got hurt and we was in a gang fight, oh well. But that's not the way that I would want my son to be, and my nieces and nephews. I wouldn't want them to grow up in nothing like that because, you know, I lost a lot of young friends at the age of 16, 17. You know, when we all used to hang together every day. And I look back on the consequences. And if I can go back and do it all over again and give them a chance, like I, you know, seen the light, then I would.
No, I appreciate that. This is a good place to start with part 2. We're going to come back with part 3, and we're going to talk about the hero that he's become today. I mean, it's a special thing that it is, but the success story of Peter. So thank you again for watching.